Hey friend, Chris here. Very excited to talk to you about this guy. Looks pretty good, and the sound is just... This is the WA-2MPX by Warm Audio. It's a dual monotube preamp and saturator that was emulated after the preamp found on the wa-mpx 351 tape machine. Now, something very nice about the 2MPX is that I was able to use it not only in a recording situation using the preamps, but also in the mixing session, and I will demonstrate that to you in this video. So that's what makes the 2MPX more than the preamp, in my opinion. So that was a piece of music that I briefly wrote and recorded for the purpose of this video to test out the 2MPX. So I used the two preamps of the 2MPX for my drum overheads. My kick and snare, I recorded them pretty clean using my interfaces preamps, so I can get like a very clean signal and use the 2MPX in post as a mixing tool. And I'm going to demonstrate that to you later in this video. Now, as far as my drum sound goes, I went for a very dead sound. So I use a very cool thing that you put on the snare. It's called the big fat snare drum. It actually makes the snare sound fat and dead, which is quite nice. Now for the electric bass, I use both the preamps of the 2MPX going through a direct box. And I'm going to explain to you why I did it this way later in this video. And I'm telling you, the results are quite stunning. Now for the violin, I use the Delphos condenser microphone going through the 2MPX preamp. I added a bit of tone and also a bit of tape saturation to add a very nice analog color to the violin. And the only thing I have on this violin is a bit of compression, and that's it. And it sounds great. And for everything else, I just used virtual instruments. Now, there's two versions of this preamp. There's the WA-mpx, which is the single channel version, and there's the one that I have, the WA-2MPX, which is the dual channel version. And as you can see on this version, all parameters, knobs, the switches that we have on the first channel are on the left, and everything is mirrored to the right for the second channel. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the parameters. First of all, we have the input select switch, which will switch from mic to line and instrument. So at the back of the unit, we have mic and line inputs and outputs, and at the front, we have the instrument inputs. So this is a tube preamp. So each channel in this case has 3 tubes dedicated to them, which is quite great, and it actually helps to give us that very nice analog sound. The build is very solid. Just listen to the switches. That's crazy. And if we look at those, we have a phantom power, 48 volt. Then we have the high switch, which will engage the third tube per channel, okay? And that will increase the gain level by 20 dB. So it will go from 70 dB to 90 dB. So this is perfect if you're working with this type of microphone, which is the SM7B. So this is a dynamic microphone that needs a bit of a boost in level and gain while working with it. That is also the same with ribbon mics, okay, which will need a bit more of a boost. So this is perfect to use with this type of microphones. Then the tone switch will add a bit more punch aggressiveness, and thickness to the sound, which is quite interesting. So if you want to add a bit more color, you engage the tone switch, and to keep things a bit more natural, you just make sure that the tone switch is off. There's also a high pass and low pass filter. So the high pass filter is at 80 Hertz and the low pass filter is set up to 2 kilohertz, which is quite cool if you want to record a type of a lo-fi recording. It would have been cool though to have the option between 2K and let's say 8K, for example, you know, just to get a bit more options. And next and not the least is the tape sat button, which is awesome. Like, this is freaking awesome, I'm telling you. So like it says, it's gonna add some tape saturation, so very nice harmonics, natural compression to the sound, which is quite nice. And we have the input and output knobs. And I like preamps that gives me access to an input level and the output level, just to get way more control on saturating the unit, to add a bit more color to the unit, which works great by increasing the input level, and then you balance that out with the output level. And if you want to have a bit more of a clean signal, you can keep the output level to the max and then balance that out with the input level, you know. So if we engage the 2MPX on the kick drum and play with it a bit, this is how it's gonna sound like. Pretty cool. I really like it. I think the, you know, by engaging the tone switch on the kick drum, it does add a bit more punchiness, and there's a very nice color to that kick sound that I like. Let's listen to it in the context of the drum recording. I get a very nice forward kick sound with the 2MPX engaged, which is quite nice. Now let's engage the 2MPX on the snare, see how that goes. Okay, let's add a bit of saturation. Okay, I'm gonna engage the tape sat. Rebalance the input level. That's pretty cool. Okay, so let's do it before and after. Very cool, love the sound. That saturation is very nice on the snare, I have to say. It adds a bit more high mids to the snare, nice harmonics. Everything's a bit more forward also. So let's have a listen in the context of the drum recording. So it sounds great on the kick and the snare. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So the bass was quite interesting because I recorded 2 signals, okay? One clean and one with some tape saturation, like overdriven tape saturation on the second track. So that's why I used a direct box to split the signal so I can get a clean signal on one channel and a saturated signal on the second channel. This is how it sounds like with the clean bass sound. That is a very nice clean sound. If we listen to the saturated sound, so when I combine the two, this is what I get. The clean signal only, and now with saturation. So it's cool because the saturation works in parallel in this case, so I can balance that out as I need. Let's listen to it with the drums to see how that goes. Cool. With the music. That's pretty cool. Now, this is a raw recording. You know, it's not mixed apart from the delays that we have on the violin. But man, it sounds great. The minute I add like that saturation channel on the bass kind of gets way more upfront, more defined, lots of character. I really love the 2MPX on the bass. And to be honest with you, I think the 2MPX is going to be my go-to preamp when recording bass. It just sounds pretty good. It does sound also very good on synths. There's that arpeggio synth that I have here. So let's engage the 2MPX out of this virtual instrument. So I'm using it as I would if I was mixing those synths. That's cool. Okay, let's try to add a bit of saturation. Nice. So if we bypass the 2MPX, that sounds very good. Love that, you know, that tape coloration we get. Very nice on the synth. Now, the cool thing about this preamp, it's more than a preamp like you just saw. I can use this easily when mixing, and why not try it on the mix bus? You know, so let's use that recording, even if it's not a mixed song, add this on the mix bus and see how that goes. So my input level is pretty low. I balanced that out with the output level. I added a bit of tone and the tape saturation, but again, in a very gentle way. And this is how it sounds like. It's very subtle, but you can hear that tape saturation going on here. So it's a very nice analog vibe that I also get on the mix bus. But again, if I was to use it on a mix bus, I would be very gentle with it, just to add a bit of analog color to the mix. So I think Warm Audio nailed it with this guy. It's a very good sounding preamp, lots of color, very flexible as far as the tone goes. The tape saturation sounds great. And on top of being a very good tube preamp for recording, it can also be a very good option when mixing. The single channel W-2MPX, it goes out at $749 US, and the dual mono version, the WA-2MPX, it goes out at $1,399 US on Sweetwater. Hey, quick question for you. Do you work with an external preamp or several preamps in your home studio setup? If so, let me know what you work with down below. Don't forget to leave all of your questions, comments, and also let me know what you think about this video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're not already. Until next time, take care and see you.